Hello, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, AirsoftAL. Welcome to Chapter 29's review for America Another World, The Last Stand. And before we even get into the chapter, a huge shout out to Ron, who shouted out my channel at the start of this chapter, and I gotta thank you for that, Ronnie boy. And, yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting, to say the least. So, Chapter 29, America Another World, The Last Stand. What's going on? Well, the French, or at least the other world's equivalent to the French, are holding the line against the ever-onslaught of the German Reich. They're actually Nazi elves. But I still cannot wait for America to get involved, but we're going to get to that, hopefully enough. Anyway, the chapter begins with two of the major bridges on the river, essentially. 3 bridges that the elves need to take. However, unlike before, they didn't blow the bridges.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Fucking French. Either way, though. So what happens? They get stomped. Yeah, no, there is no other way to say it outside of they just get rolled over. It's much like Battlefield 5's map where you're on the bridge trying to get to it and you're just building up sandbag fortifications and hope to actually stop the tanks. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to blast your sandbag fortifications and everything. We're just going to roll right on in and kill you. Which is exactly what happens. Both the east and the west bridge get taken out, except for the center bridge in the town. And when Ara, yes, A-R-A, the general essentially is asked why they haven't taken the town yet. Simply put, she says that we have to wait for infantry and artillery support. My god! Using your brain! New fucking concept! Like, just a brand new goddamn concept, apparently, for these people, who have never experienced urban warfare before. Oh, wait, that's right! This is a first for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens? Well, the general essentially says that they need artillery to bombard the hell out of the town. Which, if you learned from my last couple of reviews, I said this was a bad idea. Because that creates cover for guerrilla fighting. A destroyed building is a lot less suspicious than an actual intact building, because they're more suspicious of an intact building than they are of a bombed-out building. A bombed-out building can hide guerrilla fighters and, of course, anti-tank guns a lot better than a intact building. But we'll get to that in a moment. So, what happens? She actually does wait. They wait a couple days for infantry support and even artillery support to come to the female general's aid. At which point, of course, they actually do something smart. I know, a new fucking concept. They bombard the hell out of this town, and then they move in with infantry support behind the tanks. And when they actually get inside the town, the infantry actually takes up point. Again, I commend you for actually using your brain, but at the same time, I'm still hoping you're a bunch of idiots. So, they start coming to the center of the cross-sections, and the infantry actually fucking learn something from what they were told about anti-tank guns being pointed right at the intersection for a crossfire effect against tanks. At which point in time, they actually turn the corner. They see a Frenchie right there with their 105 millimeter, well, 155 essentially, millimeter cannon, which is in an anti-tank role, and they shoot the shit out of them. And in this case, submachine, it shows a good example here of actual military technology. Submachine guns are a lot better in close-quarter combat, well, really any sort of submachine gun and or automatic carbine-length rifle, or really anything of that nature that can put more rounds downrange in a small, compact body, is a lot better than a bolt-action rifle, because these Frenchies are essentially armed with Lebel rifles. Not Lebel carbines, Lebel rifles. While these Nazi elves are armed with MP40s, and from what I can gather, Kar 98Ks, and even possibly Sturmgewehr 44s, or the SGG 44. Moving on. And while, yes, they do have one victory, these Frenchies sure as hell ain't gonna give up the town. They sure as hell ain't, because during this entire engagement, the French, these otherworldly French, essentially hold out. They turn this town into Stalingrad. While, yes, at the beginning the author actually compares this to Belgium, in my opinion, because of the fierce urban fighting and the fact that they are using ambush tactics, I can compare this to Stalingrad, or even, if I need to say so, Vietnam. Because Stalingrad and Vietnam were both heavy urban combat areas. Then again, you can also compare it to the Battle of France, when the Allied forces took back France, Bastogne, or even any other very tight urban combat. Even the Battle of Berlin is a good example of urban hell. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Essentially, the French fight to the last man. They don't give up. No retreat, no surrender. And that is exactly what they do. They hold the line till the last dying breath. Even one Frenchie actually is in a room camping and shoots a Nazi son of a bitch who tries to turn the door. That fucker gets gunned down, drops down to the first floor. Other elves are like, fuck this. They do a Battlefield or a Call of Duty and they just start frickin' fragging the hell out of the room.
Nope. Frankly, fuck this. I am out.
And once that frag goes off, Frenchie dead. They move on. Next turn. And I'll be honest, there was one scene that actually made me kind of happy where where the Magas, which I know I keep calling them otherworldly Frenchies, but that's exactly what they are. They're otherworldly French. But moving on. Where a Maga soldier and a Nazi elf actually start fighting CQC with knives in hand, trying to stab the hell out of one another. Kind of like that scene from Saving Private Ryan, or really any scene in any war movie where two soldiers are duking it out with knives in hand, trying to stab the other bastard. But, that's just how it is. What I do like is the fact of these guys are not giving up. They are just fighting tooth and nail. And I can imagine this being hell for the elves, because even though they are killing the French, yes, it takes them 2 days to take this town. 2 days of constant urban fighting, house clearing, just absolute hell on earth for these elves. Because they're essentially getting a taste of what fervid nationalism and fervid national pride does. And as we all know, the French are the best example of prideful sons of bitches, which we're about to see later on. Anyway, after the 2 days have passed and they finally took the town, the general finally asks, what's the condition of the town? They tell her that, ma'am, we finally took the town, but we have massive casualties on our side. She's surprised. How the hell could she have casualties? And from what I can guess, she believes that just because they had better weaponry, better training, and better, everything, that they should have been able to take the town in less than 2 days, if not just an hour at the most. Here's the thing, folks, and this is a good example. When you push someone against a wall, anyone, and that person has fervid nationalism and fervid pride for their nation and have determined that they will die fighting, they will fight you to the last bullet. They will fight you till their blades run dull. They will fight you with their fist, their teeth. They are essentially the Black Knight from Monty Python.
It's but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
You stupid bastard, you've got no arms left.
Yes, I have.
Look!
Just a flesh wound.
That's a good example, I could say. I mean, we've seen good examples of this. We saw this with the Russians when the Germans invaded the Soviet Union. We saw this with the Chinese and the Koreans during the Korean War. We saw this definitely with the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War. When you have an enemy who is fervid nationalistic and is very much so willing to die for their country and take as many of those sons of bitches with them, they're going to take as many of you fuckers with them before they die. So if I had to give a good example, if I had to take a guess at how many elves one Maga soldier probably took with him, I'd say probably 2 or 3, if at the most 5, before he got gunned down. Moving on. After the battle is over, they then move on to the bridge. And then we switch to America.
Well, we're waiting.
Fucking finally! Seriously, finally! To a emergency session meeting, which Okay, you know what? That doesn't fucking surprise me at all. So the president is being briefed on exactly what the hell's going on. And when asked about the Magas and whether or not they come to America for help, they act like the French and basically are prideful sons of bitches and say, no, we got this. We got this. Or,
Fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
Is there someone else up there we could talk to?
No, now go away, or I shall taunt you a second time.
as Robin Williams said, or as the late, great Robin Williams once said,
Americans with your politically correct Americans, fuck all of you! You country-less, crass Americans! We hate all of you! Oh, fuck all of... The Germans are here. Hello, Americans!
yeah, that's the thing about the French. Be it World War I or World War II, they never asked for help until, like, they were on their ropes. Which then again, World War II, they didn't come to... World War II, they knew they need America in the conflict, but they really... Yeah, either way, though. The French, like I said, the French are prideful sons of bitches. And I know a lot of my French viewers are probably going to be saying, no, we're not! American pig! You are. We all know this. I mean, hell, America may be a prima donna, but we actually have the good sense to admit we're prima donnas. But you French, you don't have the good sense to admit you're a bunch of prima donnas. I mean, my God. And I'm dead serious, to anyone out there, have you ever actually seen how prideful French are? I mean, look at the protests and riots that were going on in France, and I believe are still going on. If that doesn't show the French ego right there, dead center, I don't know what does. But, moving on. So, when the elves come into question, well, let's just say that it's actually pretty funny. Mr. President, about the elves in question. I don't care, kind of busy at the moment. I mean, hell, we're occupying 2 nations, so, whatever. Sir, they're killing women and children. They're committing war crimes left and right. They're actually committing a holocaustal genocide. I don't care. Mr. President, the elves are Nazis? Did you say so, son? Fire up the music, boys! Get the army! We're gonna take us out some Nazis!
Over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the drums run tumbling everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be all over, and we won't come back till it's over there.
Much as I'd love to say that was the actual reaction of the president, and of course him being told about them being Nazi sons of bitches, no, that wasn't. In reality, he is told about these guys being Germanic, being basically Nazi Germany, but when asked, and I gotta love this, when asked how the hell these elves were able to actually become like Nazi Germany, they basically said that they looked at many possibilities, but some of the possibilities were in the realms of science fiction and fantasy, which the president's response to it, I fucking love, because his response is simply this. Son, we are in a world of dragons, fucking furry motherfuckers, magic, and even now elves. I don't care if it's science fiction or fantasy. Have you seen the world we're in right now? Any possibilities of reality by this point. Hell, Santa Claus might be real. Actually, that last part I added, but you get what I'm saying. And in my opinion, I have a theory on this, so hear me out. I believe the way the elves became Nazis, or at least became like the Wehrmacht or the Third Reich, I believe that back in the 150 years prior to them disappearing, I believe there might have been a schism, a type of civil war, if you may, where those who were fervently against humanity and other races were probably ultimately try and take over the world, or at least attempt a type of genocide, while those who were pro-peace and maybe not, and were actually friendly towards humanity and the other races, decided, you know what, we're just going to sink this city and try and control the situation. And my guess is they used a spell to where, you know, they couldn't exactly surface the city until they broke the spell. And that's my theory on how they were sunk, or at least how they sunk the city 150 years ago. Now, as to why they're Nazi sons of bitches, here's my theory on that. Or at least part 2 to that theory. my guess is that after the pro-war sentimental elves won major power, they were in kind of a bad situation. So the leader of this party, or leaders, started looking around. They may have gotten a little high on some stuff, maybe did a little bit of the, the magical puff puff. And then they opened a window into other dimensions, other worlds. And they probably saw our world during World War II and saw the Nazi party. Saw the Third Reich. Saw Adolf Hitler doing his thing of the whole Z Heil and all that good jazz. And said, you know what? I like what that guy's doing. This guy actually makes sense. Let's do that! That's just my theory on it, however. How they became Nazi elves and all this other crazy shit. But, moving on. At the end of it all, they basically said that we should at least try and talk to them first instead of going to war, and my whole thing on that is, are you fucking serious?
What? What the fuck?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
No, really, are you goddamn serious? You're telling me you want to try and negotiate with the genocidal Holocaust-causing fucking Nazi elves?
It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I think when you announce to the public that that Nazi elves are a thing, I think the public's going to be on your side. You're going to have recruitment. I'm not joking here, especially in Tennessee. I'm just saying for Tennessee's sake, mind you. For this Tennessee and the other world, I can already tell you now, if you tell America that we are at war now with Nazi elves, you are going to have lines around 2 blocks at the recruitment stations for young men and women wanting to sign up to fight fucking Nazis. Doesn't matter if they're elves or not. You tell people that we're at war with the Nazis again, they're gonna want to go. Moving on. So, yeah, that's a thing. Which I understand the whole reasoning behind it. If they're trying to get it to Congress to basically be like, hey, we're going to war, blah, blah, blah. If they just came up and said, oh, we're going to war against these guys because reasons. That's too flimsy of anything. This isn't Iraq. This isn't 2005, folks. This ain't the invasion of Iraq. Okay? We ain't doing the whole mission accomplished thing like George W. Bush did. Or George W. Bush Jr., anyway. But what they're going to do, however, is send out a carrier fleet. Or a carrier group, anyway. And once again, the Navy gets the fucking spotlight. Seriously, where's the Army in all this? Because, I swear to God, if the Army or even Air Cav doesn't get its time to shine, I'm gonna riot. Okay? I'm an Army brat. As well as an Air Cav brat. Where's my people? Where's the U.S. Army? Where's Ride of the Valkyries? Where's CCR's Fortunate Son? Come on, Ron! Give me something at least. Begging you here. Moving on. But at the end of the chapter, they send out the carrier fleet to try and meet up with a detachment, or at least a small flotilla or fleet of Nazi elf sons of bitches. And I'm just going to say this now. If it's a flimsy... Because, here's the thing. From a sociological and psychological point of view, the Nazi elves aren't going to want to talk. They're going to want to kill. Because their whole ideology is about them being the superior and dominant race. Meaning that all of the races are inferior and need to die. Which is what it's going to be. Which, I'm going to say this now, I'm happy they're fascist and not communist. Because if they're communist, oh dear God, that's going to be worse. Because here's the thing. Communism technically killed more people. And if they were fighting communist elves, oh dear God, it'd be worse. It really would be. Just, yeah. No, yeah, it'd be so much worse. It'd just be so much worse. But predictions for the next chapter. Next chapter, America curb stomps a son of a bitch. We send in the U.S. Army and Air Cav and pull us some Viet goddamn Nam with some CCR's Fortunate Son blasting from the Black Hawk helicopters. Ride of the Valkyries, shit going on in the jungle. CIA doing its shit because of course the CIA does its CIA thing, and hoping to God we get a patent. I hope to God we do get a patent because, I'm sorry. If you have America going against Nazi elves, especially the U.S. goddamn Army, have to have a Patton who says the most iconic line Patton has ever said on the front lines.
Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book!
Of course, by that point in time, it wouldn't be Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book. It'd be, you magnificent bitch, I read your book! Just saying. Either way, though, while yes, I am a little bit disappointed at how short the chapter is, I'm still very happy to know that America is finally getting involved. So thank Christ for that. The wait is over for us to be able to have our freedom. Either way, though, thank you all for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, the Comments Airsoft, who reviews media because, to be frank, I'm out of guns to review. Until we get a budget again, then we can start reviewing other guns. And if you want to read this chapter, or already have read this chapter, there's a link down below. And if, once again, if you have already read this chapter from America Another World, Chapter 29, The Last Stand, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this chapter and how excited you are for America to finally get involved and start curb stomping Nazi elves. And if you like what I do, consider donating to our PayPal. It's folks like you that actually keep this channel alive and actually keep us doing what we do best. And would you kindly like, dislike, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all that good jazz, because of course, YouTube judges videos on interactions, and it doesn't matter what kind of interaction it is, be it negative or positive. So, till next time, ladies and gentlemen, I will see all you lovely people in the next video. Till next time.